Hey, last week we got a request to talk about free kicks. Not normally something we like to delve into too far on this podcast. It's always a bit of a touchy subject. Speaking of touchy subjects, Jake, but we've had multiple fan groups saying that they've been stiffed by the umps every week and all this kind of stuff.
Well, that's every fan group.
Tigers
fan
reaching out to sort of, ask why they've been on the wrong end of the stick for some time. North Melbourne fans have been talking about the frees and the 50s, as you alluded to, Jake. They were giving away, especially some of those inside the forward 50. So we tasked Christian with, I don't know, were you happy with this job to have to look into this? I don't know if free kicks is kind of your area of expertise, but...
No, it was all right. I think we've sort of, put a bit more niche and just looked at goals and looking at it in front of goals. But no, it was sort of an interesting exercise to look at.
So I guess which teams benefit most from the whistle in and around their forward arc, their forward 50? Is there a team that sort of really stands out?
This could be dangerous.
Yeah, well, again, I've sort of, just to create a bigger sample size, gone back to 2022 to 2024. I think the first query that came in when I heard about this was round about Charlie Curnow and his goals from free kicks. So it's the time that he's been leading the Coleman medals basically since the start of 2022 onwards. So I looked at all the numbers from in that time. So percentage of shots that each team's getting from their free kicks across the game. So I've sort of taken it more to percentage of shots you're getting rather than percentage of goals, because if you're inaccurate from all your free kicks, it'll cloud the numbers. It was from that weekend, the Good Friday game. The team that played in that game does get the most free kicks, leading to shots at scores, or shots at goal, and that is North Melbourne. So 13.8% of their shots in the last 2 and a bit years have come from free kicks as a result of free kicks, which is the highest percentage of any team, slightly ahead of Carlton.
Hang on, so all these whingers that were complaining about this on Good Friday, they just ignored or conveniently ignored
2 or 3% off.
Come on.
Having a go at the wrong
hang on,
team.
so Carlton's still
Carlton
up there.
is second. Carlton are just slightly second, so North are slightly higher.
Don't be throwing stones in.
I've got a little strange theory as to why this might be. Tell me if you think this is crazy. North, obviously a struggling side, have been for the entirety of where this data's been collected from these years. Do you think there's anything in it where the umpires think anything that's 50-50, they'll pay it, as opposed to those ones?
This is a dangerous area.
And this is why we don't do, again, free kicks.
He's getting nervous over here, Christian.
Almost the
I don't get nervous,
sorry
but again,
for them
it's
factor
one of those
where they're
ones
down
that-
by 10 goals.
You're saying
give them
there's
a free.
corruption involved.
It's not corruption, but it's just like, they're down by 10 goals. Larky's been held, or Zerha's had 4 guys around him. We wouldn't normally pay that. Let's just give him a free.
I don't think so. I don't think I subscribe to that theory, but I do know, again, I don't know if they still track it, but the AFL used to do free kicks.
Yeah.
And they used to do which ones were warranted, unwarranted, and which ones were missed. And they had a stat line of percentage of free kicks that were paid and missed. And we don't get to see any of that, so I can't comment on.
Should we?
So
it's like the NBA's 2-minute report.
I would like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Again,
I think maybe if the umpires were full time, I don't think we can be expecting amateurs.
But even at the end of the year, I would love just to see a report of this is how. We don't need to know by umpire, by game, and I don't know any of those numbers. But again, so looking at North number 1, Carlton second, Freo is third highest percentage of shots from free kicks, and Port Adelaide's fourth. So
it's a mixture of good teams,
some good
poor
teams, and some bad teams. But the thing that stands out for me, all of them, is they're very highly contested in their forward 50. So we talk about Port Adelaide last year. They stacked their forward. They dominated territory. All the players live in their forward half, and their back six was vulnerable because there's so much space down their end. So probably the more you involved in contest, the more likely you are to get a free kick. So again, I've got some other numbers that I sort of want to touch on about Carlton and probably why they're getting a lot more free kicks. It's because they are kicking to a lot more contests and a lot more sort of packs than other teams are. Maybe North Melbourne is similar in terms of, as a struggling team, they're not hitting Nick Larkey up 30 metres on a lead, sort of the way Brisbane are hitting up Hipwood and Danaher going forward. They are kicking to Larkey, who is wrestling and one-on-one and things like that. So it's I think it's the more of the way North Melbourne go forward that leads to more a higher percentage of free kicks. Again, we're not looking at a total count of free kicks, so they might not be leading total number. It's just the only way they can score, or the more likely way they score, is from free kicks more than any other team.
So I think this is in the same period, but of the top 50 goal kickers, who has had the highest percentage of their goals coming from free kicks?
Yeah, and another player that sort of, I think, buys into this, everything he does is so contested and so tough that he's going to draw a lot of free kicks, and it's Cam Zerha. So 31% of his and a fair 31% of his goals, have come from free kicks. So 58 goals he's kicked since the start of 2022, and 18 of those are from free kicks, which, as I said, 31%.
These North fans need to look in their own backyard. What's going on?
Yeah. And then, they can take another look. So Nick Larkey, who's second, is 116 goals he's kicked in that time, 28 from free kicks, which is 24%, which is equal second with Harry Mackay. So again,
Now,
same teams, same names.
It's worth saying, well, it kind of goes without saying, but I will say it, is that these, just because a player, it's like when we spoke about the Bulldogs when they were at the top of their game, they would get more frees than anybody else, and their differential was by quite a long way. So the games, just because a team gets more, it doesn't mean they're not deserved.
No,
so
it's not the way that teams play their games. So Hawthorn, Richmond have always sort of, fans have thought they've always been stiff, but I think the game that they kind of play has always been, especially under Hardwick, was always, don't let teams get away from a free kick, or don't let teams get out the back quickly. So if you have to give away a free kick away, do it. And I think that was kind of a hallmark of their game. So it's not always a fair representation.
So you could look at Cam Zerha and say, well, he kicked 18 goals from free kicks, but there were six other ones that should have been paid to him that they didn't get. Yeah. So I haven't gone through and looked at every single potential free kick or free kick that have been paid to all these guys. But just looking at the number of frees paid, I think is a bit misleading, because you don't then, for players like that, you're going to have more attention, you're going to have more ball coming towards you, so you're going to have more opportunity to win a free kick.
The thought I get looking at this list, so it goes Zerha, Larkey, as we said, and Mackay, and then Michael Walters, but then Charlie Curnow and Aaron Norton. So overwhelmingly key position players.
Walters
so those in
is
a contest.
Bit of a standout.
So Walters is a standout, but then you look the other way, and it's players who have kicked in that list who have kicked the fewest goals from free kicks, and another trend emerges.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was expecting, again, I looked at the top 50 goal kickers from 2022 onwards. I think anyone that kicked 56 goals in that time gets into the top 50. Every single one of those players has kicked at least 3 goals from free kicks. So I was expecting to find at least one player that's probably kicked 60-odd goals, not one's come from a free kick. But yeah, 3 was the minimum. 4% of Zach Bailey's goals have come from free kicks.
Just 4%.
So he's the lowest. Jake Stringer, 3 of his 56, which is 5%, have come from free kicks. Isaac Rankin, 6%. Shai Bolton, 6%. And then sort of one that stood out to me, again, a lot of them are small forwards, ground level players. Todd Marshall, so only 6 of his 86 goals have come from free kicks, which is 7%. 84% of his goals have come from marks, which is the highest percentage of the top 50 in that time. So, again, a very quick look at it is he's taking a lot of uncontested marks.
He floats forward a bit, maybe.
Yeah, and he's getting a lot of marks out in space, because he's not actually taking those marks where a defender might be holding on to him at the same time. He's not getting any free kicks, but if you can get him ahead of the play and hit him on the chest 10 metres in the clear, that's where all his value has been.
Interesting stuff.